Bathurst did 6,213 metres of the toughest bitumen around. To help show us around this place, we've enlisted two champion race drivers. We start with two-time Bathurst winner, John Bowe.
This is turn two. This is the start of the tricky part of the circuit. You brake desperately late from 250 kilometres an hour. It's an early turn in, very early throttle application. You use all the road, right out to the pedigree sign, and hope not to clip the wall, and it's a very important part of the first sector.
We're at Solomon Park. This is where this track gets really tricky. In the Ferrari, we're coming up here in fourth gear, flat chat, changing into fifth gear, 250, 260 kilometres an hour, all the way up into Skyline Corner. This is where traffic is a problem. There's very slow cars up here, very fast cars. This is blind turns. This is where the adrenaline gets pumping. This is where the track gets really, really tough.
Solomon Park across the top. It's very, very easy just to step it out too wide, grab the wall to see actually the leader very, very close to that spinning car.
We're at Skyline Corner, a place we approach in fifth gear. In fifth, down to fourth, third and second until you approach the dipper. It's a no passing zone. It's one of those places you approach at very high speed. You see a slow car coming up, very frustrating because it is really a place where you can't pass. A good thing about our car, the Ferrari 458, it's got ABS brakes, so when you're coming down here you don't have a fear of locking up your brakes like you might see in a V8 supercar, and it's fast, and it's one of the places that I really like.
We're now at Forest Elbow, the corner that leads onto the most famous straight in Australia, Conrod Straight. It's a second gear corner, not that fast, but it's downhill, slightly off camber. You make a mistake, you hit this wall here, obviously you're out of the race. The straight has speeds in excess of 300 kilometres an hour, and it's got lots of undulations, so the car moves around quite a lot, and it is the best place to pass because it's easy to pass on the straight. Here we are at the West Track Chase, the end of Conrod Straight. It is the fastest corner in Australia and possibly one of the quickest corners in motor racing. It is a serious corner, but it's taken flat out, top gear, 300 plus kilometres an hour. The road is quite bumpy. It's settled over the years and the car moves around, jiggles, bounces, but the downforce in these GT cars pins it to the road, so it's more a mind over matter thing. You go very, very deep down there under braking and back into third gear, and you're towards the end of the lap so you can start to breathe again.
Well, there's few better people to show you around this great racetrack than a man that's won the great race twice, John Bowe, and the fastest ever man in a GT car, Alan Simonson. Great chauffeurs of Mount Panorama. These cars stretching all the way around this circuit on the formation lap before we get the green flag for a rolling start in the Liqui Bathurst 12 Hour. The grid is an exciting one. It's Mercedes on pole, then a couple of Ferraris and a Lamborghini. The first of the Audis from the Network Clothing team goes from 5th place. John Hindhoff is alongside me, and John, you're excited about this race.
Get your backsides, trackside, everybody. Here we go. We're going racing at Mount Panorama for the Liqui 12 Hours of Bathurst. The safety car pulls into the pace car as it is now, pulls into the pit lane. It will become the safety car if we need it again. It's a pretty decent lineup as they come down towards the left-hander at Maguire's corner and onto the Liqui front straight. Tim Slade in the Mercedes, Mika Salo in the Ferrari, Craig Baird starting the Clearwater Ferrari from the second row. Green flag out, thrown by a representative from Liqui in Germany. Good morning, and thanks to Liqui for their support. 12 hours on the mountain. Peter Baumann with the green flag from Liqui in Germany, and we're racing it down the inside. There goes the Clearwater Ferrari into Hell's Corner, exactly as we thought earlier on. A little sneaky move there out of the sunshine. He's got through to second, but it's the Erebus Mercedes that takes them up the mountain straight for the first time. Tim Slade leads the Liqui 12 Hour up mountain straight, but great start from Craig Baird. Need to see where he jumped in relation to the green flag, but he got past the Maranello Ferrari, and I think our thoughts about Clearwater wanting to lead early are very, very true. Good start from the second of the two Erebus racing cars as well. The 36 entry with Alexander Roloff behind the wheel.
he has made a good start and he's running in 4th place. Then we go back to the JBS Lamborghini with David Russell starting, some side-by-side, the AF Corsa and GB Galvanising Lamborghini cars going side-by-side into the cutting.
And it did look like Mika Salo was trying to make a move there at Mountain Straight, and did you see how Beardo was sitting right in the middle of the road going up to Griffin Bend? He didn't want to let that 50-kilo heavier car go by him because he wants to put pressure on the bends in front of him as they go over Skyline for the first time. Take a deep breath. No time to look at the scenery for the next 12 hours for the drivers, but awesome pictures coming to us from the top of the mountain as it's still the pole-sitting car that leads down through the dipper for the first time. I can't believe I'm saying these words. That's awesome stuff. Already these big GT3 cars are piling on the power, and remember, they've not seen the circuit this morning other from one reconnaissance lap, and for sure there are not heat in all of those tyres. Everything's not up to pressure. The times are just going to get quicker for this first 20 minutes or so.
Up into 4th place is the other Mercedes as well. He was got the bit between his teeth very early on there with Alexander Roloff going very strongly. The second of the two Mercedes, one with the yellow trim rather than the purple, was it the purple people eater? I'm not quite sure what the yellow peril one is called, but they've certainly, the two Mercedes getting a good start, and they're fairly well up, as you can see on the screen there, back between the two Audis. That's the United car, I think.
It is really good start.
Which has made a good start. The number 23 car, John.
And Rob Huff passing Rod Salmon into the kink as well. So the World Touring Car champion starting the race in the Audi. 1 lap down and times starting to trickle down. But a good start by Tim Slade. Good clean first lap as we watch David Russell just dicing with Alex Roloff in the second Erebus car. Good start from that car. It's gained some ground. Just tucked in behind Mika Salo as they run up the hill. But this has been a very good, clean, controlled opening first lap from Tim Slade. He knows about this. First couple of V8 Supercar podiums, a good run of podiums at the end of last season, and his first pole position as well. He's the coming man in V8 racing, and he'd love to start his season off with a win here at Bathurst. There's the Corvette, so that's out on the racetrack. Great to see.
Thank you. Well spotted. Roloff, Baird, Salo, Slade, Russell, Quinn, Premat, Richards, Wyatt, Darrell O'Young for your top 10, and here's the battles further down there. That is on the right-hand side going into Griffin's Bend in place. Lost then for the Mark Patterson driven 23 United Autosports, the white, red and blue Audi R8 LMS. But at this time you've got to pick the battles. You've got to pick the battles. There's no sense in trying to close the door on somebody, particularly at that point of the circuit, Rich, where all you're going to give yourself is a load of grief and the guys downstairs a load of work early on.
Interestingly enough, the timing monitor is showing, as we see the 56 Seat coming into pit lane, the timing monitor is showing the two Mercedes actually reversed with Roloff leading and Slade fourth, but it's definitely the 63 car leading the race, so it is Tim Slade.
Even as I said that, I thought that wasn't right.
A little bit strange. I'm not too sure what's going on there, but I'm sure timing and scoring will work that out. But Roloff is under pressure from David Russell, who is hugely experienced around this place. Multiple Bathurst 1000 starts to his credit, and he is the best man to start this JBS Swift Lamborghini. Really strong combination. Roger Largo's been good, and what a disappointing story for GWS Motorsport. They're based just down the road in Parkes in New South Wales, about 100 k's away from here, and that has just been a horrid weekend. They got Stewart's dispensation to start the race last night.
Former winner overall.
Yeah, absolutely.
Twice. That car, I spoke to the team yesterday evening to ask them what was wrong with it. They've had electrical problems with that car since last year's race, and it got so wet that it's never recovered properly.
The battle for first and second goes down to Hell's Corner. Let's keep a quick eye on this. Is there going to be a dash for the lead as they go up the mountain straight? Well, not into Hell's Corner. Let's head down to the pit and Grant Boyd.
Yeah, just a quick update on the 56 car. An engine miss has brought that in at the end of that previous lap. Team working on it, but they've got no idea what the problem is at the moment.
Mark Pilati bringing that car into the pit lane, but the battle at the front. Has anybody told these guys that this is actually not a 15-minute sprint? We've got 12 hours of this still to go. Well, 11 hours and 50 minutes, and already they're at it like this is a couple of puppies in a bag.
This is as expected, and the last couple of years we've seen great fights for the lead and a couple of lead changes in the opening hours. Incidentally, on average, 27 lead changes over the course of this race. It's a kind of random stat.
At the start-finish line.
Counted at the start-finish line, correct. And that's an American thing we need to follow on, because that's how they score it, but there's often more around the course of the lap, and very much in a 6.213k lap here at Bathurst. So good start from Baird, and I thought the Ferrari was the faster car, and it's showing to be true at the moment. I think in a dogfight, the Ferrari will win on raw speed. I think it's just got a couple of extra tenths than the Mercedes. Where I think the Erebus Motorsport cars will be better is over a race distance and in terms of fuel and pit strategy. And already lap traffic playing a role in the race, and Tim Slade has a very close moment with one of the Motorsport Services Seats coming out of Falcon Tyres' elbow, had to jink to the left and then to the right when the Seat didn't know which way to go, and now Craig Baird finds himself in the tow of that big AMG SLS Merc.
So I thought it might be 3 laps before we hit traffic. It's actually only 2 as they go down through the chase and head under the Liquid Moly Bridge. And there will be little bit of clear air.
So this is a big moment.
That's a big squirrely moment there for Slade as he picked the outside and then had to go back the inside. It would have been so easy there just to loop the car because you're trying to tighten on the exit of the Falcon Tyres elbow, and he's actually done a pretty good job there to not only keep the car on the track but to keep the lead. The Ferrari under braking looks a little more stable than the big Benz. Ferrari with the engine in the middle, the Benz with it up front of course, and at the moment that looks to be where the advantage is.